Hey, it's GunsmithBeard back with another gun video for Gun Talk, and we have a very unique gun we're going to talk about today. I'm kind of excited about it. I saw it and I was like, this is very unique, and I figured it would be a great firearm to talk about on this channel because not only do we do like everything on this channel, it feels like I like to do things that are different and unique because I feel like we all are unique in each and every way. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning to the channel, thank you again for your loyalty, coming back each and every week. I definitely appreciate that. Our channel is growing and it's because of you guys. So thank you for that. I know a lot of people on YouTube world watch videos and they're never subscribed, but yet they watch them every week. So for the ones of you that are subscribed to the channel, thank you. I really do appreciate that. So let's dive into this gun. Let's talk about it. I'm excited about it. It's different, it's unique, and maybe it's something you'll like. So let's see. All right, guys and girls, this is the unique firearm I talked about in the intro video. It is Dark Mtn Arms Stowaway Pistol. And right off the gate, I want to talk about this part. This is the brace by A3 Tactical, about $100. It was on clearance when I bought it. This part is not included. So when you buy the pistol, you're only getting this portion of the firearm, which is the pistol with brace adapter version. So it's about $400. So this was $100. This is about $400 to get the adapter already installed by the manufacturer. So let's talk about Dark Mtn Arms. They're a relatively new company. They started back in 2023 in Fletcher, North Carolina. So they're a North Carolinian company. Relatively new company, only been in existence for about 2 years. It is a veteran and owned and operated company. So I always like to support veterans, especially when they're trying to find their mission, their purpose outside of the military. And this is a good one. This guy has a long life of engineering, I assume, for the military and now into the firearms world. And he created a very unique company. Again, it's a North Carolina company that's American made. All their products are American made and veteran owned and operated. So that is, in a nutshell, Dark Mtn Arms. Now let's talk about some of the specs on this exact pistol, which is this portion right here. It comes, so they consider it a multi-caliber setup because it is. It doesn't come in a ton of different calibers, but it comes in two. One of the first ones and more well-known calibers for this pistol, and some of the pistols you've seen, just like this one on YouTube, is chambered in 5.7 by 28 millimeter, which is a really fast round with not a whole lot of recoil and shoots pretty flat. And it can be suppressed depending on what 22 caliber can you have. It depends on if it's rated for it, and this is really designed to be run suppressed. 5.7 runs really good suppressed, very quiet, but also very flat shooting caliber. But let's say you don't like 5.7 and you have really no use for it. It does also come in 9 millimeter or 9 by 19. So if you have a 9 millimeter suppressor and you have a lot of 9 millimeter rounds and you want something fun to shoot at the range, or to shoot some vermin or small game or whatever, then you can shoot 5.7, or if you just want to have fun, you can shoot 9. I mean, that's kind of where I feel like this lives in those two calibers is you can buy 5.7 or you can buy it 9, and you can have both calibers because you can buy the barrel and the bolt for either caliber. So if you buy it like I did in 5.7, and let's say now I want to shoot at 9, all I need is the barrel and the bolt because the head spacing is set in both and those are married together. So you can order it right off their website for 9 if you already have the 5.7, which I think is really, really cool. And I'll show you how easy it is to take the barrel off of the action. Super, super easy, way easier than an AR-15. And I think some of the features are a copy or kind of mimic an AR-15 style system. But it is a single action, half-cocked safety style system. What I mean by that is it's a single action. So this thing is a bolt action, only shoots one round, and you have to manually load it. There is no magazine. There is no box mag or blind box like 700. It is a manual load. So you basically uncock the action, slide it to the rear. You would manually load a round into the action or the chamber, and then you would close the bolt and lock it down into, so it cams into place. So the bolt we'll talk about in a second when I take it out, and then also the barrel. This is a 3-lug face, which is what it looks like. And to make the trigger go live, because right now it's not live, and if you squeeze it nothing happens, you pull the barrel shroud back into a cocked position. So it has 2 flats on each side, so you can take it pretty easily and push it to the rear. And if you have arthritic hands, I don't think it takes a whole lot of muscle to get that to go back. It's pretty easy to do, which I think is actually a great selling point for all ages. Is that was pretty easy to do. And then to take the tension off the trigger and make it safe again, you just push it back and then squeeze the trigger and slide it, let it go. And now the trigger is dead again. I will say this, from a safety perspective, there is no cross bolt safety or any kind of safety besides what I just showed you. So if the trigger's live and you don't want to shoot that round, trigger's live now. You hear an audible clicking sound when I pull the barrel shroud back. So I know the trigger's live. If I don't want to shoot that round and I want to make it safe again, I have to take the tension off by pushing it out, squeeze the trigger, and let it go. And now the trigger's dead. That is the safety. There is no other safety feature on this. So that might be a pro or con, depending on how you look at it. So let's take the bolt and the barrel off. This piece right here is the barrel shroud, and it threads into the action. So it hand threads, which is a very cool feature. You just grab it and then rotate it off like you would do a suppressor, even though this is just a barrel nut. It's not a suppressor. And you can see it has some really nice threads on it. I have no idea what the thread pitch on this is, so don't ask because I have no idea. And take it out of lockup, and then the barrel just pops off like that. So you'll notice the barrel extension on this barrel looks a whole lot like an AR-15. And because for the most part, it's similar, not the same, but similar. But if you look at the inside of the barrel extension, you'll see a 3-lug style cut. And that's because the bolt face on the bolt action actually slides into this barrel extension and locks up. So let's take the bolt out. How do you do that? There is a button on top, which is your bolt lock release. And you just press it down with your finger. Not a lot of tension on the button itself. Push it down and then just pull the bolt out. It's literally that easy. Takes almost no effort to do it. And there's the barrel extension again. Here is the bolt face, and it's a 3-lug. So you basically marry these two together, and that's how it locks up into the barrel extension and the barrel to make it all work. Very simple design, but it works. It really does work. So how do we get it all back together? In case you're cleaning it or whatever and you took it all apart, now you have to get the thing back together. So let's take the bolt and slide it in, taking the little block here that holds the bolt handle on, and then matching it with this little cutout in the receiver. Press the bolt lock and then slide the bolt and then cam it down. That's pretty much all it is. Now, when I put the barrel back on, when the bolt is already installed, I don't try to lock it up. I leave it in the rear position. Take the little pin, indication pin, and line it up with a notch that's at 12 o'clock. So pin is at 12, notch is at 12. You slide it till the barrel extension is flush with the receiver. Then you take your massive barrel nut, slide it over the barrel, and then just hand tighten it down like that. Very, very, very simple, very easy. And I just hand tighten it the best I can. You'll notice on this barrel nut, there is no knurling, there is no notches, there is no way to take a wrench and ratchet it down insanely tight, because you don't need to. This is set up so it's very easy without any tools to swap out the bolt and the barrel and change calibers literally at the range or in the back of your truck at the tailgate. Very, very easy to switch calibers that quickly. I'll say if you wanted to order the pistol setup in 9mm, if you go on their website, you can literally order that barrel for 9. And so when you order it, you have to get obviously the bolt and the barrel at the same time, because they're head spaced and they're married together forever. So you buy them both. They're about $179 for the new 9 bolt and the new barrel, and you get them both at the same time. The lead time, depending on obviously the demand, the rough lead time you get is 2 weeks to 4 weeks between the time you order it. And obviously it's $179 plus tax and shipping and all that stuff. So probably about $200 when it's all said and done. And you have 2 different calibers that you can easily change between each other. So let's go over some of the specs on the pistol itself. In 5.7 is the barrel length attached is about 7.1 inches. With the barrel attached to the action, it's 11.5 inches. The height of the firearm itself is 6.8 inches. The thickness, so the thickness of all of it, is less than 2 inches. And if you take the brace off, the weight on this pistol, not the brace, but just the pistol, is about 2 pounds. And it's a little on the heavier side, even though I don't feel like 2 pounds is heavy. It is because part of it is steel, like the bolt and all that mechanism is steel, and the rest of it is aluminum. So it's really well made. And I feel like 2 pounds is a little on the heavy side, but not really, because for a stowaway little pistol setup like this, that you can just throw into a bag or throw into your truck or whatever, that's not that heavy. And even with the brace, it's not that heavy. So I feel like a really good weapon system for what I would call like a James Bond or spy movie. I feel like this weapon system could easily, especially with a suppressor on the end, could easily be in a Mission Impossible movie, in a James Bond movie, or any kind of spy movie like that genre could easily be in there. Let's dive into the poundage on the trigger. So in order to, again, to get this trigger live, is you have to run the bolt, and then you pull your barrel shroud back and you hear an audible click. That means the trigger's live. I've done this off camera, and we'll see if it does the same on camera. Is when you measure in the middle of the shoe, you get about 4.5 pounds, and at the bottom of the shoe, you get about 3.3, 3.5. So let's see what it does. I'm gonna do it in the middle of the trigger shoe and see what the poundage is. .1. The bottom of the shoe. I just feel like guys with big hands might pull from more of the bottom than the middle. And I catch myself sometimes pulling from the bottom, which I've always been trained not to do that, to pull from the middle of the trigger shoe. But from the bottom, I'm getting a 3.6. And then let's clear it. And pull from the bottom again, a 3.1. So that's pretty close to what I was getting off camera. I did it about 10 times in the middle, 10 times at the bottom, and I was getting pretty consistently a 4-pound pull on the middle of the trigger shoe, and then at the bottom I was getting like a 3.5. So that's about what I was getting off camera. So I'm glad that it's pretty close to what I was getting off camera, on camera. Let's talk about the trigger really quick. This has what I would consider more of a flat face trigger than a curved trigger shoe. But how does it feel? And honestly, it has a lot of pre-travel, and I think that's really for safety reasons. They don't want a very short trigger throw for safety. Like if you're walking around with this thing, they don't want it to go off. But honestly, you really shouldn't have a live trigger walking around anyway with this setup. I will say what it does not have is it does not have a definitive wall on the trigger. So when you're squeezing, you feel a lot of travel and a lot of mush until it just breaks on its own, and kind of a surprise. A definitive wall on a trigger is when you pull the trigger and then you feel like the trigger stops moving and you feel feedback on the trigger, resistance on the trigger. And if you squeeze past the resistance, past the definitive wall, it goes bang. This does not do that. It's kind of like an old school hunting rifle where you squeeze, and then surprise, bang. That's how this trigger operates. And that's not a bad thing. It's just the problem I have is most of the nice triggers that I put in my firearms have a definitive wall. So I'm waiting for that wall and there's not one. I'm waiting to squeeze till I feel resistance or feedback in the trigger, and then once I squeeze past that, it goes bang. This doesn't have it, so it would take a little bit on the range to really get used to trying to figure out where it's going to break, because it's hard to feel it in the trigger. You almost can't feel any feedback in that trigger shoe to let you know that it's about to go bang, because it does not have a definitive wall, and that's what I mean by a definitive wall. But I do think for a stowaway or very different firearm, this thing has a lot to offer. It has a Picatinny rail that comes with it to mount an optic. It has threaded barrel to run a can or a muzzle device. It comes with a B5 tactical or B5 systems pistol grip, which is one of my favorites on an AR-15 platform. So it has a lot that going on. If you don't want a pistol, you could buy this, and then you could buy a 16.1 inch barrel in 5.7, or you could buy it in 9 and change this into a rifle setup. I hate that idea. I wouldn't want a barrel like that sticking that far out. I think it would be better at left as a pistol than to try to make it into a rifle. That's my 2 cents. Now, you guys could do whatever you want if you like it. It is very affordable, I feel like, for something like this. And to have a halfway decent trigger, I think it's pretty good for a little bolt gun that you can just go shoot in your backyard, or go small game hunting, or just go to the range and have fun. That's where I feel like this thing really has potential, especially for the cost. So if you guys have feedback on this, I'd love to hear it. So this is the Stowaway Pistol by Dark Mtn Arms. All right, guys and girls, thank you for watching the video. If you made it this far, big thank you to you guys. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do try to make content each and every week. Sometimes we don't, but I appreciate your patience and your loyalty to the channel. Like I promised, this gun is very weird, unique, different, and it may be something you're interested in, or it may not be. But either way, let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of this gun. Is it something that you would actually buy, something you're interested in, or you're like, nope, complete waste of money, I don't think I would buy that? Let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear your feedback this week. As always, it's good to see everyone. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us grow. And work hard, God first. See you when I see you.